message this morning of continuing to strengthen the US-India relationship that has been generated by. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Minister Piyush Goyal, as you know, one of India's preeminent leaders who's charting India's course through what has been an incredibly challenging time across the globe. Minister Goyal is responsible for numerous high-profile portfolios in the Indian government. He is the Minister of Commerce and Industry, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, and Textiles. Previously, he served in India's Minister of Railways, among many other responsibilities. Minister Goyal has played a stellar role in enhancing India's competitiveness, exports, and the stature on the world stage. But today, I'd like to highlight his pivotal role in India's COVID relief efforts. Under Minister Goyal's leadership, Indian Railways launched Oxygen Express trains that ran on express green corridors throughout the length and breadth of the country, ensuring that much needed liquid medical oxygen was delivered across to people who needed it most. Recognizing India's dependency on imported PPE that resulted in acute shortages early in the pandemic, Mr. Goyal led efforts to develop an indigenous PPE manufacturing ecosystem in India. In less than 2 years, India has emerged as the second largest PPE manufacturer in the world. There is a wonderful Sanskrit phrase that Prime Minister Narendra Modi referenced during COVID, and it epitomizes India's outlook and generous spirit. Vasudev Kutumbakam. Roughly translated, it means that the entire world is one family. Not only is the Indian government carrying out its own unprecedented large-scale vaccination drive with 900 million doses so far, Indian leaders, including Minister Goyal, have actively supported efforts to supply COVID-19 vaccines to over 75 nations. As you know, the US Chamber of Commerce, IBM, Accenture, among many others. Mr. Goyal, I appreciate your commitment to strengthening US-India strategic partnership and advancing the commercial relationship. Thank you also for being a passionate advocate of US-India Free Trade Agreement. I'd also like to thank you for your leadership of the US-India CEO Forum, which Amway has been very proud to be a part of. Mr. Goyal, all of us today, this morning, this evening in India, we look forward to listening to your remarks in a few minutes. For now, I will turn it over to Arun Kumar, Chairman and CEO of KPMG India.
Piyush Goyal, let me add my welcome to that of millions. It's really a privilege to be here with you at the USIBC India Ideas Summit. I want to say, speaking personally, I really value the relationship that we've built, starting with my first meeting with you in 2014 when I served in the US administration. Your dynamism and your commitment to progress I've found to be consistent and very stimulating. Today we meet in the context, the backdrop of the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and President Biden. And when they met last month, they reiterated the foundations of Indo-US relationship, building a shared partnership to ensure regional security, to promote common interests in the Indo-Pacific region, enhancing trade and investment, very importantly, leading the battle against COVID-19, which was mentioned by Milind, and other public health challenges, and jointly working to scale up climate action. So in that context, let me request you, Honourable Minister, to kindly share your keynote remarks with us this evening on the US-India partnership and the shared potential. How do you see the relationship evolving? What is your view on the actions needed to carry forward these common objectives?
excellent fun, for your very generous remarks. Always a pleasure to interact with you, Arun Kumarji. I also very fondly recollect our several meetings since 2014. All the distinguished participants at the 46th annual meeting and the India Idea Summit organized by USIPC. My greetings to all of you. I'm really grateful to USIPC for inviting me. You, Senator John Cornyn, strengthening the relations between the US and a very happy and prosperous celebrations for the next 9 days that we are really symbolizes the victory of good over evil. And it's starting the festival season in India. I'd like to convey my messages to all of you and your families in the US, in India, who have joined us, and pray for your good health and prosperity. In fact, I also pray that we win over this war against the virus very soon. Today is also another very important milestone. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has completed 20 years of uninterrupted public service as the head of a duly elected democratic government. First as Chief Minister of Gujarat from 7th of October 2001 until May of 2014, and since then for the last 7.5 years as the Prime Minister of India. His untiring efforts have accorded India a very special status in the global economy, global community of nations. The world now looks at India as a reliable and trusted partner and a driving force of the world economy. The USIPC, and if I may say, you represent unity, you represent strength, you represent inclusion, you represent old businesses and a commitment towards this US-India relationship, has acted as a bridge to build and continue to reinvigorate this partnership for the last 46 years. Over 2,000 US companies who are successfully running operations in India are testimony to this time-tested friendship. My compliments to the USIPC for all the wonderful work you have done and for the theme of today's interaction, from recovery to resurgence. It very aptly describes today's situation. Our relationship has developed to a global strategic partnership based on our convergence on bilateral, regional and global issues. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Joe Biden have been proactive in strengthening this relation. The visit of Prime Minister Modi to the US earlier last month for the Quad Leaders Summit was very fruitful. In fact, their very first in-person meeting. 5 Ts, in a way, define the Quad and the relationship that we are building up. Tradition, talent, trade, technology, and transition. And President Biden said, together, the US and India must show the world that our two great and diverse democracies can deliver for people everywhere. This close partnership between the US and India is central to a free, open, inclusive, and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. COVID COVID-19 pandemic highlighted that supply chains should not be based only on cost, but rely heavily on trust. India wants to focus in areas where it has a competitive advantage to become a bigger stakeholder in global value chains. The increasing trust deficit amongst some geographies in the post-COVID world calls for a resilient India-US partnership. India recognized as a major defense partner of the US can also become a big market for the US companies. Multiple dialogues across areas of energy, health, trade and innovation can help us work together for improving our business-to-business engagement and of course providing to the people of both countries opportunities and better services. The India and the US are working together to build resilient supply chains in advanced technology areas, but we need to explore several more areas. Today, India has attracted the attention of the world. We are the most attractive destination for investment, with FDI flows into India growing year on year for the last 8 years. We have played the role of the pharmacy of the world and are helping countries bring down healthcare costs. The world is looking towards India for its openness, opportunity and growth. Our theme at the World Expo 2020 in the UAE. We are currently negotiating free trade agreements and comprehensive economic partnerships with like-minded nations like Australia, the UK, UAE, amongst others. We have focused on strengthening 24 sectors of the Indian manufacturing economy where we have competitive and comparative edge over other countries. We do believe that we are looking at a national infrastructure pipeline which will provide huge opportunities of over 1.4 trillion US dollars, boosting investments in infrastructure for which we have provided an enabling environment with more liberal foreign direct investment rules. We have reduced corporate tax to amongst the lowest in the world. We have a very simplified tax regime, a single window clearance mechanism for all approvals, a huge land bank of available land to set up manufacturing bases or industrial clusters. We have removed and sorted out legacy issues of the past like the retrospective income tax law, and in fact are today encouraging invention and innovation, research and development, and our entrepreneurs are setting new records. Today we have the world's third largest startup ecosystem, boasting over 60 unicorns, of which more than 20 became unicorns in the last 6 months. We have introduced the production-linked incentive scheme to encourage large-scale manufacturing in India of high-quality products at affordable and competitive prices. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's decisive leadership, India today is set on the path of Atmanirbhar Bharat, a self-reliant India, an India that works with other countries from a position of strength as an equal for reciprocal benefits. We are not closing the doors of India to world engagement. In fact, we are opening them wider so that we can expand the increase engagement both to businesses and at the people-to-people level, both in merchandise and in services. Encourage investments connections from the US to India, from India to the US, and with the rest of the world. We are leapfrogging from Make in India to Make in India for the world. We are strengthening our domestic industry and will, in the future, strengthen scale and the quality of production in India along with our cost competitiveness. Brand India conveys innovation, intention, and the true image of the new India being crafted under conditions between India and from addressing the problems of the pandemic sector, the understood several core areas when together the US and India have its technology startup ecosystem with fintech, edtech, has tremendous potential. Low-cost-based vision, satellite data to monitor climate change, disaster response, and our preparedness to mitigate problems of the manufacturing, pharma and manufacturing, pharma and healthcare, biotechnology, also US of A as our natural ally. And together, through our shared vision, we can truly become partners of progress for the prosperity of people both in India and the United States of America. My warmest wishes and regards to all of you on this program today. Pray for good health, safety, and well-being. Namaste. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Minister, for those